Right, shalom. Here we are. You made it again. Congratulations. We are on chapter 11, and today we're going to do the whole chapter because chapter 11 is really not that big. So it's really perfect size, I think, for our Purim reading of Exodus. Or rather, it's Purim Shoshan, right? We're on the second day of Purim, so those of you who are in walled cities, or we interpret that to even mean like a full gated community, then that you get a second day of Purim. We had a wonderful Purim celebration today for Congregation Simchat Hashem here in the Philippines. So just a shout out to all of my congregants who are there. I really enjoyed it today, seeing you guys, and the food was fantastic, and we had a great discussion, lots of great ideas and pushback and molding over things from the Torah. It was really a good time together. So I'm going to go and start out. We don't have a lot of people in here right now. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to wait too long. I want to get this teaching out there. I think what happens is when we go live, that's when YouTube kind of tells everybody that we're live. Hey, shalom, Elizabeth and Sosa. Yeah, Sosa, I noticed you're getting the alerts, right? You came right in. That's great. Good timing, Achi. So let's go and get started with Perek Aleph. Pardon me, Perek Yod Aleph. Here we go. Yod Aleph, that's chapter 11 from the book of Exodus. And happy Purim to those of you over in the Western Hemisphere, and to those of you in the Eastern Hemisphere, happy Purim Shoshan, right? So if you're doing the walled city, the second day of Purim, then Mazel Tov to everybody, and Chag Sameach. Even though it's not technically a Chag, we can still say Chag Purim Sameach. Right? Celebrating the day when our ancestors were saved from annihilation. It's the failed Holocaust from Persia, while at the same time understanding that the modern Persia is trying to do the exact same thing to us. You know, the wicked Ayatollah in Iran is trying to develop a nuclear weapon so that he can rid the world of Israel. So I would just ask for all our brothers and sisters, please pray for shalom. Pray for a revolt of the government there in Iran, that we might get rid of this religious theocracy that is really functioning as an agent of evil. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Sha'alu shalom. Actually, the psalm doesn't say pray for the peace. Sha'alu means diligently ask. Sha'al is to ask. A she'ela is a question, right? And it's actually, we have a related word that shows up in the Psalms where we say Yiten Adonai et levivot. What was it? Et meshe'elot levavecha. Sorry. Literally the questionings of your heart, which is the desires of your heart, right? It's like there's some relationship to asking a question and desiring something. Okay, it's buffering for Elizabeth a bit. How is it for you, Sosa? Are you okay? Are you getting our video clearly, or is it buffering? I'm curious what the sit rep is over there. I'll continue on. In the meantime, oh yeah, I think it's complaining to me also. There's some kind of issue. Let me see what's happening. Oh, I see what happened. My LAN cable, it's very finicky, my LAN cable down here, and it decided to unplug, so the laptop switched to Wi-Fi, which is not the best of ideas. Let me try to get this working for a sec. Sorry. Usually it stays in okay when it's like that. I bought another cable, but I have not got that all set up right now. There we go. Now we're on LAN. That should fix it in just a moment. Let me just see if the widget's still complaining. Sorry about that. Trying to get our studio in place. There's been a lot of distractions lately. Tet says, Shalom Rob, classmates. Took time for me to enter. No problem. Is it okay for you, Tet, or is it buffering? I think YouTube is complaining to me still. Oh, it says, yeah, it's not receiving enough video. Huh. Okay, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to stop streaming for a second, and then I'll continue, okay? Anyone listening on the internet upstairs, please use your LTE. Please get off the home internet. Don't worry, I'm going to stop streaming, but I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm getting some lag on my end too. Goodness, look at this. Wow, terrible lag. Well, I'm just going to push through. Hopefully YouTube works it out. We'll see. Maybe it'll drop it from 1440p to just HD or something like that. They can do sometimes adjustments like that. All right, so here we go. Chapter 11, verse 1. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe. Okay, then Adonai said el unto Moshe, Moses. Od nega echad aviy al paro ve'al Mitzrayim. Okay, od. Od is still. There is still nega. Nega is like a striking, right? Like an attack. Literally from naga, to touch, right? The idea is the divine is touching, but with intent to punish. Echad, one. Aviy. So, not to be confused with the name aviy, which means my father. That's a different word. This is aviy, meaning I will bring. Get the root, beit aleph. We know that ba is to come. And remember what I taught you when you put a yod before the third root letter? That's telling you it's to cause to do whatever that is. Usually. Not always, but usually it's to cause to do something. And then the aleph at the beginning, that's from ani, meaning I, or anochi. So aviy means I will cause to come, I will bring al, upon, paro, Pharaoh, shalom yakar, ve'al, and upon, Mitzrayim. By the way, if you're just joining, if you want to be live, like where we are while I'm teaching, click that bottom horizontal bar and drag it all the way to the right, and then it will bring you up to speed where we are right now, okay? You'll be live then. Otherwise, you're trailing with what was streamed before. So, ve'al Mitzrayim, and upon Egypt. Acharei chen, acharei means after, chen, such, yeshallach etchem. So, shalach is to send. With that daggesh, it's a stronger, it's to send out. And then the yod at the beginning tells you he, it's a he. So yeshallach is he will send out, or he will expel. It could mean he will divorce if it's talking about a wife. Et, we don't translate. Chem is you all. Mizeh, literally from this. But the idea is like from here. Keshallechov kala garesh yegaresh etchem mizeh. Okay. Ke, as or when, shalecho, this is kind of difficult. This is an infinitive, okay? And when you take a Hebrew infinitive and you put a suffix on the end, it works differently than a normal verb. I mean, although we put the endings, a normal verb, you wouldn't need the O at the end to mean him. But this is telling us him. So literally it's as or when his sending out is really what it's saying in Hebrew. So when shalecho, he sends out, kala. Kala is complete, like completely. Garesh, yegaresh. Garesh, it's a Piel word, but there's no dot in the resh because it can't take one. So it means to drive. So garesh, yegaresh. This means he will definitely drive. That's called an infinitive absolute over there, that guy. Okay? And so whenever you have a verbal form repeating like this, with the first one being this pattern, it means indeed or definitely. So he will definitely, yegaresh, he will drive, etchem, you all, mizeh, from this, which really means it needs to be from here to make sense. Let me just see how we're doing over with attendance. I know it's Purim, so yeah. I don't know why he's washing hands there. I'm not sure what's up with that. Verse 2. Try to make myself small. There we go. Daber na be'oznei ha'am. Okay. Daber. This is an imperative. This is a command, right? And if you don't remember the verb, you could probably guess it when you think, what is the root? Dalet beit resh. Well, davar. I think I just realized I didn't copy this over in Hebrew literacy. Hopefully they know about it. Davar. So davar is a word, right? Daber is speak. Speak na. Speak now. It can mean now or please, depending on context, right? Be'oznei. And ozen is an ear. So what's with the yod at the end? Well, when you see that yod sticking out there, and you know it's not e or I, meaning mine, that means that the word was actually oznayim. It ended in a mem, right? A mem sofit. And so that means ears. And when you have a plural that ends in a mem and you delete the mem, it changes to be of. So be'oznei is in the ears of, hey, shalom mentat assassin, ha'am, of the people. Daber na be'oznei ha'am, speak now in the ears of the people. Ve'yesha'alu, now isn't this interesting? We were just talking about sha'al as it relates to the Psalms, where it says sha'alu, shalom, Yerushalayim, ask, diligently ask for the peace of Jerusalem. Not pray, it doesn't say pray. I'm not sure why people translate that as pray, but it's diligently ask or inquire for the peace of Jerusalem. I guess the idea is if you're asking God, that is prayer. So you could do that. All right? Ish me'et aihu. Ish means a man. Me'et, from with. Aihu. The who is his. Rea is friend or fellow. Okay? So a man will ask from his fellow, and this is the word for a male friend, like a friend who's a guy. Okay? Ve'isha, and a woman, ma'at, from with, ra'utah, from her female fellow. Right? So these are Egyptian households we're talking about, right? So the men are going to talk to men, and the women are going to talk to women. Right? And what's good about this, what you should notice, is notice that Hashem is showing us a distinction between men and women, and he's putting a hedge, he's putting a boundary to make things careful. Don't, if the guy goes and talks to the women, maybe something will happen. If the women talk to the men, right, it's just not appropriate in those days. And so I think we can learn something, that there are times when we should shield ourselves and guard ourselves. You don't go over to somebody else's house, if you're a man, and talk to the wife if the husband is gone, right? This is common in Middle Eastern culture. Our Arab cousins do this as well, right? They also have the Christian Arabs, the Muslim Arabs. A man doesn't go to someone else's house if just the wife is there, okay? And vice versa. A woman doesn't go to a house where a man who not her husband is there, right? You don't do it. And so we see it's just captured in the language. The Torah is being very clear. Hey, don't do anything goofy. Keep the proper derech eretz. Do things right. And ish from Rea, right? And isha from reuata, right? Okay, for a reua, okay, and we put the top meaning hers. Shalom, Vicky. No problem. We are celebrating Purim, but we're still learning. And by the way, remember, if you guys want to go through the entire book of Esther, which is you're supposed to do on Purim, read the whole book. Last year, I recorded it here, just kind of on a whim, so I don't know how great the recording is, but I read the entire Hebrew text, and I translated the whole thing. I'm not explaining it like this, though, so it's kind of advanced, or if you just want to do immersion, I don't explain, this is construct, and none of the grammar stuff like we do here with our full immersion, but it is a kind of immersion. You could go through the whole book of Esther. I'll read it in the Hebrew, and I translate it for you in English as we go along, okay? There might be one section where I think a few verses there was an audio problem. I don't remember. I didn't have time to edit that. There it is. It's out there. It's here on Hebrew Literacy channel, here on YouTube. It's in the playlist called Megillot. I think it's the 5 Megillot and Megillot. You go there. Esther is considered one of the Megillot. A Megillah is like a rolled scroll, okay? And you'll see it's organized chapter 1. It'll be like chapter 1, part 1, chapter 1, part 2. It's all pretty much in order, I think, if you like. And I think I'm not doing it right from a text. We didn't have this document camera then. I'm showing you on the screen with like a pointer moving across as we go. So you should still be able to follow, okay, if you want to do that. And remember, tomorrow, in America, it's still Purim, right? In Asia, it's Purim Shusan now, right? It's the second day of Purim. If you live like in a gated community or a walled city, you can celebrate another day of Purim. So it's still Purim. It's still a festivus for the rest of us. Yeah, Tet said she was unable to attend our congregation's Purim celebration, but Baruch Hashem, we have the online learning. Yeah, I know. It was at lunchtime, right? And we finished about 5:15, so it's hard for some people today. So no worries. Let this be your Purim celebration, yeah? Okay, so what are they going to borrow? Kelev. So kelev means instruments of or vessels of, right? This is a very flexible word, right? So, in the Psalms, you might see that that a woman will that she will adorn herself with keleha, with her instruments, with her vessels. That means jewelry, right? You see how flexible the word is? If we're talking about kalei milchama, that's instruments of war. That's a sword. That's a longbow. That's a shield, right? They're instruments of milchama. In this case, kalei chesiv, anything made from silver. Probably stuff like for when you have guests over, you're serving them on the nice silver platter, etc. Okay? And kalei zahav, and vessels of gold, or instruments of gold. Hey, shalom, Dr. Nevera. Happy Purim. Glad you made it, achi. All right. So that's what the man, and ish, is going to borrow from his male neighbor, and the isha, the woman, is going to borrow from her female neighbor. So we're being very careful here not to mix up. A man should never go to a woman who is married's house when the husband's not home, and a woman should not go to a man's house, especially going inside, right, when the wife is not home, right? This is just proper derech eretz, and we see it way back in the times of Moses, and this is also part of our halacha, right? So, ha ha ha! Mentet Assassin got my Festivus reference. Hey, shalom, Dr. Dwayne. Glad you made it, achi. And one thing I want to point out here real quickly, just a little bit of an advanced grammar rule, in case you want to know. If you're just learning by immersion, total immersion, that's fine. If you want to know why is this an u and not a ve, like usually when we put a vav in front of the word to say and or whatever, it's vav and then the shwa underneath, okay? But in this case, he changed into an u, all right? The reason is, if the word starts with a shwa, then the vav changes into an u, okay? The full name of the rule is bump shwa. So really, the rule is, if the first letter is in bump, a b, right? That's a bait, right? Or we're making the word bump. The u is the u sound, the shurik at the beginning of the word. So if it starts with a b, the u just means we're going to change it into an u, like here, okay? M is a mem, and p is a pei. So if the word starts with b, m, or p, then you change the vav to u. Or if it starts with a shwa. So it's the bump shwa rule. If you like that, enjoy. If not, just let it go over your head. It's not necessary to know this. You can pick this up just kind of by reflex. All right. And I'll just read it all at full speed now, okay? So in case you're still looking at something. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, od nega echad aviy al paro ve'al Mitzrayim. Acharei chen yeshallach etchem mizeh, keshallechov kala garesh yegaresh etchem mizeh. Verse 2. Daber na beoznei ha'am, ve'yisha'alu ish me'et ra'ayhu, ve'isha me'et ra'othta. Kelev uchalei zahav. So that's Hashem speaking. Okay, trying to use a serious voice as I did it. Okay, and it's a short chapter tonight, so don't worry. We're going to get over the whole shebang. We're going to get through the whole shebang. Okay, now this one I need to zoom out to show you the picture. Okay, let's do. Okay. See, big picture. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. Pharaoh's the man with his hands on his hips. And we got Moshe and Aaron. And here we've got the two Khartoumim, the engravers, right? One of them is a magician and one of them is a soothsayer. And then we've got whoever this guy is with his hand on his beard. That's a new guy. I think that's a new guy. We never saw him before. All right? And then there's the text. So I'm going to zoom in now on the text. You saw... Interesting. My studio software keeps saying it disconnected, reconnected. Hope we're streaming okay with you guys. By the way, please remember to click like if you're just coming in. I really appreciate you guys giving me the like feedback. Even though we don't have a lot of viewers today, I think it's from the Purim celebration. Everybody is tired from all the food. And the nice long discussion we had. You know, we had there's a possible, we might have another series coming. We'll see. Maybe like coffee talk or something like this, coffee time, or just sitting around talking about stuff. It was actually quite productive. I wish I had recorded it. We had a really nice conversation that covered all kinds of topics. It centered on Purim in the book of Esther, and then we kind of branched out to other areas as people had comments and questions. So, all right, we talked about DNA and all kinds of stuff, kind of interesting. All right, verse 3. Is that focused? It seems blurry to me. Hold on. There we go. Let me know if it's too small. Vayitain Adonai et chen ha'am be'einei Mitzrayim gam ha'ish Moshe gadol me'od be'eretz Mitzrayim be'einei avdei Pharaoh uveyney ha'am. There it is. Okay. It throws me off they don't put the sof pasuk. It's like a period in Hebrew. It looks like a colon or like two diamonds in English. So I always wonder, did they make a mistake? Is it really in the verse? All right. So, yitain. That is from the verb natan. So you can see there's a daggesh in the tav, where that first letter that was a noon, it went inside the tav, okay? So the verb is natan. And I think most of you know natan, to give. Yitain means he will give. Vayitain means and he gave. Okay? Okay? Who? Adonai. Vayitain and Adonai gave. Et, we don't translate. Chen. Chen. What is chen? So, chen means a couple of things. One thing that chen means is grace. It can mean grace. But it's not the kind of grace that people think about. Usually they think that this, I've heard some Messianic rabbis make a mistake about this before. They say that this is chen, meaning like the grace of God, right? Like he has grace for us. No, that's a different word. We have other words for that. Chesed being the primary one, but there's others, right? If you use this to mean grace, it means like she moved with grace. You understand? It's that kind of grace. It's also spelled grace in English the same way, but it's not grace like forgiveness or something, okay? So that's just wrong. That's all right. But the other meaning for the word chen is favor. And that's what it means here in this context, okay? We're not saying that God gave the ability to be perceived nicely, right? Although you can see how they're related, right? For people to look on you and see, wow, he's full of grace, right? Usually they favor someone. They like the person's good looking or they think they're handling things well, right? So you can kind of see the connection. So chen is favor. Favor, ha'am, of the am, the people. And who remembers what ancient verb am comes from? I think I shared this with you guys the other day. I'm going to get a drink. I'll give you a second to answer that. Sorry, it's amazing how thirsty I get doing these teachings. Anybody remember? This is for the advanced students, by the way. This is advanced knowledge, okay? So the noun am, it comes from an ancient root, amam. Ayin, mem, mem. We call these geminites. A geminite, like Gemini, the twins, right? A geminite is a root that has two of the same letters, okay? Amam means to be strong, to be powerful. Oh, good, Vicky got it. I think there just was a delay. I see you typed amam. Very good, Vicky. And so you'll see this in the Psalms sometimes. So sometimes the word am. So am is a people because the idea is a people is already a strong unit to deal with. It's not just a clan, right? It's not just a tribe, not some little chieftain, right? Or so it's a people. So they're already strong, right? You can see how the word came to be. But the word am can sometimes be used poetically to mean strength. Strength. And you'll see this in the Psalms. Hey, you're welcome, Dr. DeVera. Glad you're here, Achi. So it sometimes means strong. So that might throw you off. If you're reading your Psalms, right? If you like to do the monthly reading or the weekly reading, and you don't understand why does it say the people, try making it say the strength and see if that works for you. That's kind of a more ancient meaning. And oftentimes the Psalms, they're much older Hebrew than the Torah Hebrew is that we're reading right here, right? Which can make it more difficult for people. But when you know the roots, you know the root that the word comes from, it'll help you. Then even when it's a kind of weird thing, you can stop and think, well, what's the root? You go back to the root and then, I got it, okay? All right. So, Vayitain Adonai et chen ha'am. So then Adonai gave favor to of the people, ha'am, be'einei Mitzrayim. So, einei, from ayin, meaning eye in the Moses, right? Gadol me'od was very great. Be'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. Be'einei avdei Paro. Sorry, pronouncing that I in there. Be'einei. In the eyes of, so again, einayim became eyes of avdei, that was avadim, meaning servants. became avdei. So in the eyes of the servants of Pharaoh. U, look, it's an u again. It's not a vav with a shwa. Why? The bump shwa rule. Bait, if the word starts with bait, mem, or pe, that's the b, m, p in bump, then it becomes the u in bump. Or if it starts with a shwa. This one has both. It starts with a bait and a shwa, so it's got to be u. So uve, and in einei ha'am, the eyes of the people. Okay. Very good. How you guys doing? Everybody okay? Kind of a sad turnout. Oh well, say lovey. Verse 4. Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe said. And you know what? We got a lot of verses here, don't we? For just one picture. Maybe we should switch to the Bible. You guys want to switch to the actual Hebrew Bible? Maybe we'll do. We're going through what? Verse 8. All the way through verse 8. Okay. So from verse 4 to verse 8. Okay, let me just find where we are real quick. Shemot chapter 11. Oh, cool. I opened right up to 12. Close. 11. What's our verse? Verse 4. Going 4 through 8. Okay. There we are. Okay. All right, so let's do it this way. All right. Here is chapter Yod Aleph. That's verse 11. Just because when there's one picture in all the text, we might as well benefit from the beautiful Bible, right? Okay? All right. And it says, Be'enei avdei Pharaoh, uveyney ha'am, in the eyes of the servants of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of the people. Verse 5. Oh, sorry. Starting over here is verse 4. I was finishing verse 3. I thought that sounded familiar. By the way, this Reread, it means the fourth Torah portion in portion bo. Okay. Okay. Vayomer Moshe. Then Moshe Yomer, he said. Remember, Yomer is he will say, or he is saying, and the vav changes the time. So then Moshe said. Okay. Move it over. Okay. Ko amar Adonai. Ko amar Adonai. Such said Adonai, or the famous "Thus saith the Lord." This is where it comes from. Kachatzot halayla, ani yovtse betoch Mitzrayim. Ka means like as or like, or it can mean like about, like you're approximating. Chatzot. So chatzi means half. Chatzot is the middle of, or the half of, halayla, the night. Shalom, Brenda. Ani, I, yovtse. Yovtse is a Hiphil participle from yatsa. Okay, so I will bring out betoch, in the midst of Mitzrayim. I'm sorry, this is just a call. I will come out betoch, from the midst of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. Okay. Now this is verse 5. How do you know it's verse 5? Look all the way over here. There's the hey. So the hey means if the verse started on the previous line, this is the next verse. So hey means 5. There's the sof pasuk, end of the verse. So now we're on verse 5. Okay? Umet kol bechor be'eretz Mitzrayim. Mi bechor paro hayoshev al kisoho. It's cutting kind of long. Maybe we'll stop here. Okay. So umet. Mate means he died. Why is it an instead of a v? Remember the rule? Bump. Things go bump in the night. The bump schwa rule. The is the from bump. The other letters are b, m, p. B, m, p. And here you have it. The mem, that's the ma. So since we start with a ma, we say Okay? That's the rule. Umet. So mate is he died. Umet is it changes the time, and he will die. And he will die. Who's the he who will die? Kol bechor be'eretz Mitzrayim. Kol, all, bechor, firstborn, be, in Eretz, land of Mitzrayim, Egypt. Okay? Me Bechor, me means from, Bechor, the firstborn of Paro, Pharaoh. Hayoshev. So yoshev, another active participle like yovtse. Yovtse is going out. Yoshev means sitting. Okay? And in Torah Hebrew, sometimes in the prophets you have a sheen here instead, right? So you can replace the word asher, meaning who, with a ha when you put it on a participle. Okay? If that's over your head, don't worry, it's okay. This is what it means. The ha means, literally, I'll be literal, and then we'll make it less literal. Ha means the one, yoshev, sitting. Okay? So in English it sounds better to say, who is sitting, al, upon, kiso. Kisei means throne, o means his. So kiso, on his throne, ad, until, becho, the firstborn, ha-shifcha, of the shifcha. Shifcha is a virgin female servant, is usually what it means, okay? So you just say maid servant or female servant. Asher, see look, Hebrew parallelism. Here we had ha, and now we're just saying asher. See, they're functioning the same. Asher hu, achar, is, so this means after, meaning like sitting behind. Harechayim, okay? So, a reach, it's not a smell, it's spelled the same as smell, right? But this means a millstone. Rechayim, this, when something ends in the sound ayim, not im, but ayim, it means there's two of them. So there were two millstones in Egypt that they used when they were crushing the wheat to make it into flour, okay? So literally it says who is behind or by the two stones, the two millstones, okay? So she's got lowly labor, right? Pharaoh who yoshev al kiso, sitting on his throne, all the way, this is a merism, by the way, all the way to the lowly bechor hashifcha asher harechayim, to the lowly maid who's sitting by the millstone. She's grinding the flour up, right? Okay. Now, a merism is something that the Bible uses sometimes. It'll say, it'll list like some you have a set of many things, and the biblical Hebrew it'll list, here's one thing on one extreme of the set, and here's something else on the other side of the set. And by just mentioning those two things, I mean all of the things, okay? So this comes through actually into Jewish Greek as well. Jewish Greek. That is the, what I call the dialect of the Koine Greek that's used in the Septuagint and in the apostolic writings. Shalom Bea, Happy Purim. And so, for example, we see Yeshua says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, right? So the Alpha is the first letter in Greek, and Omega is the last letter. Instead of Z, they end with Omega. So by saying I'm the Alpha and Omega, it's doing the same sort of thing here. From the one ad hayoshev al kiso, from the one who sits on his throne, ad bechor hashifcha, unto the firstborn of the maid servant, right? So it's a merism. It's taking one end of the spectrum and the other end, and it means and everything in between, right? So when Yeshua says I'm the Alpha and Omega, he's saying I'm everything. I've got all power, right? It's all power has been handed to me. All right, so this is just very common. So even in the Torah, we have a merism happening here, okay? All right. And you don't need to know the Hebrew to get that. V'chol, pardon me. V'chol, v'chol, behema, v'chol. So now our vav is back acting normal again. Thank you. Ve and chol. Let's see if we can do it this way. And all, or each, bechor, firstborn of behema, of beasts, right? So not only the firstborn of humans, but the firstborn of the beasts are going to die also. Please make sure to click like, guys. I know we don't have a big turnout tonight, but it's still nice to get the likes in there. At least we got a minion. Not too shabby. I'll take it. Every once in a while Hashem prunes, for whatever reason. But I think it's because it's a holiday tonight. I think people are celebrating. I was tempted to not do the teaching. I just wanted to relax. Boy, I got that food in my tummy. Woo, making me lazy. But the computer's working. We got our new light set up. Thank you for the donor. We got professional lights in here. And our studio's coming together. And I just want to use this to share with you guys to keep you going with your Hebrew lessons. Thank you, Dr. DeVere. Click like already. Awesome. Ooh, I got to take a drink. Very sorry about that. I'm getting hyper thirsty. Maybe the dish I had some salt in it, I'm not sure. Some really wonderful, what's that Filipino dish called? I can't remember the name of it. Not kari kari. It's a different beef dish. Oh well. If it comes to me, I'll say it. Okay. So this verse, what verse is this? We have to look over here to see. Verse Vav, verse 6. So we got 8 verses before we go back to the comic book, okay? But we're most of the way through chapter 11. Chapter 11 is pretty short, right? Vehayetah. 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 So this is from the verb hayah. It's a feminine form. Hayatah means she or it was. And then the Vav changes the time to make it say, and she or it will be. Okay? What will they be? What will there be? Here it is. Atzaoko in Ashkenaz. A tza'aka, a cry, an outcry. The verb tza'ak means to cry out. Tza'aka is an outcry, right? What kind of tza'aka? Gedolah, a great one. Notice this has to agree. They sound alike. Tza'aka, gedolah, right? Because they're both feminine. They both end in that ah. If it was something that didn't end in a hey, this would be gadol instead, right? They agree. So if you've studied other languages that have masculine and feminines, Hebrew works that way too. So it'll be a great cry. Bechol eretz Mitzrayim. In all the land of Egypt. Whew. What a terrible day for them. Worst day ever. Asher kamohu lo niheyatah. Okay. Asher, which, kamohu, like it. It's who, because it means literally like him. Why? Because we're talking about the day, right? The day is a him. Lo, not, niheyatah. Okay? This, I'm going to do a little bit of grammar here for those of you that are into grammar stuff. Don't worry if you don't get it. So look up above. We just had hayatah means she was, right? And look again, hayatah, but this time there's a noon in the front. This means it's passive, right? So which had happened. So lo niheyatah, which never has happened. It's a Niphal, by the way, if you like the grammar term. Vechamohu, and like it, lo tosif, there will not be added, meaning it won't happen again. Okay. The root of this verb is hard. I almost said verb. Well, what am I? Chekhov from Star Trek. So yasaf is the verb, right? The root is yod, which is gone, samech pei. And remember, when a verb starts with a yod, oftentimes that yod disappears. Okay. So that's what happens here. If you couldn't recognize the verb, that's why. So that's where we get the name. A trick to remember it is think of Yosef, right? It shall be added to him. Yosef means adding, right? Adding, like growing, getting more. So that's the same thing. So lo tosif, it will not be added, means won't happen again. It won't happen again. There'll never be a day that bad in Egyptian history again. Any comments or questions? Okay. And by the way, the reason we have a tosif here, it's feminine, it's referring back to tza'aka, right? The outcry, right? The outcry. Okay. All right, we're now on verse Zion, that's 7, right? So the way it works, we see the verse marker, we keep going until we see the sof pasuk, right? Unless this verse, the previous verse ended. If the last verse had a sof pasuk at the end of it, then this would be 7 right here. But because this verse 6 started on the previous line, look, it started way up there, right? That means that this is telling us where the next verse is. So we keep going. There's our verse marker, sof pasuk. Here's the next verse, okay? All right. So this says, ulecol b'nei Yisrael Lo. By the way, I know that looks just like this one on a share up above. These are different accent marks, right? Okay, this one's ma'pach or mahapach, some call it, and this is yetiv. Okay, that's why it's not loho, it's loho. Okay. Yecherats kelev leshonoho. I think we better translate instead of moving the page around too much. All right, so here we go. Ulecol, and to all. All right. The reason for the u is because the schwa, it's the bump schwa rule. You can't start a word with two schwas in a row. That's that little colon-looking guy, right? And usually we put the vav, and he's got that colon dot. Like, look over here. See? Here we have it this way. See? There he is. Ve-chamohu, right? You got the vocal schwa. It's at the beginning, under the vav. But here we can't do it because we already have one. You cannot start a word with two of those thingies. Dr. Dura says, so kol Mitzrayim is absolutely all in the land of Egypt, no exception? That's a great question, Doc. I don't think so. What Dr. Devere is pointing out is that in biblical Hebrew, the word kol, all, it's not used in the same manner as all in English is used. When we say all, we mean the whole set, right? All of the whole shebang, right? In biblical Hebrew, when you say all, usually this means like almost all, right? Like so much, this is just Middle Eastern talking, right? So much that it's like all, right? And there's evidence of this. If you look, for example, when you've got the competition between Eliyahu Hanavi and the Nevi'ei Baal, the prophets of Baal, right? You remember that? In 1 Kings? And Eliyahu, he calls to Hashem, and fire. Hashem answers with fire, and it licks up the sacrifice, and even the water evaporates, and the people are amazed, right? And the people, it says, Kol ha'am, all the people, they cried out, Adonai, hu ha'elohim, Adonai, hu ha'elohim. The Lord, He is the God. The Lord, He is the God. In other words, not Baal, right? And in the frenzy, the people are so excited that Eliyahu was able to say, seize the prophets of Baal. And everybody agrees because they just saw what God can do, right? What a real God can do. So the question you have to ask yourself, was it really all the people cried out? I mean, did the Baal prophets cry out also? Did the little babies who were nursing, goo goo gaga, Adonai, hu Elohim? I mean, sure, there could have been a miracle, but so you can kind of see this is why Dr. DeVere is asking. The word all, usually, it can mean all, right? But it doesn't have to. Usually in biblical Hebrew, if the text wants to tell you every single last soul, then what it will say is there'll be an additional modifier. There'll be more added to the text. It sounds to us like exaggeration in Hebrew, right? You know, from this to that, to that, to that, you know, all of this is affected or whatever. But it's the Torah's way of being clear that you understand all. So to answer your question, Doc, I think it's a good question. There might have been exemptions. Right? Unless the text tells us some more information, at this point, as we're reading, we have to assume maybe not all the way that we understand it in English, right? There might have been a tzaddik somewhere, or some Egyptians. In fact, there probably were, who feared the Lord God of Israel. And they also took a lamb, and they also took the blood from the lamb and put it on the mashkef and on the mezuzot. The mashkef is the top part in the sides of the house, right? To protect themselves. Because we know the Erev Rav, the mixed multitude, left with us. So there were other non-Israelis who did this, right? So it's a great question, Doc. It really probes into the language. What does really this word chol mean? Chol, is it like everything like we mean it, or is it something different? Yeah? Okay. I think it's safe to say there might have been exemptions. Ulecol, and to all. Dr. Dura says, so there were Egyptian firstborn that did not die. I think that's plausible. I don't want to answer absolutely yes, okay? I would say there's a minor degree of ambiguity here, okay? All right? The reason that I'm not so comfortable saying that I'm certain that this doesn't mean all is because we do have some language that's going to come up saying who dies. and it's going to be this kind of, it could be merism type languages, from this to that, to this to that, you see? So it might be counteracting the idea of it not being a totality. Yeah, it's a great question. It's hard to know. Let's look to see what phrases we get as we continue. All right? U and le, to, chol, all. Or in this case, but, to all. See how I just see the next words? Once I saw it to Bnei Israel, I changed it to but. But to all of the Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, lo yecherats kelev leshono. This is an enigmatic statement. We see this again in Joshua, in the book of Joshua. Yecherats is kind of a weird word. It's like to squeeze. To squeeze. So, for example, in Proverbs, it talks about wicked people. They squeeze their eye at one another. What it means is wink. You're squeezing the right. You're like squeezing the skin, right? So it can mean to wink. So literally, it says, "Will not squeeze kelev, a dog, leshono. Lashon is tongue. Leshon of him, the tongue of him, his tongue, right? Won't squeeze the tongue. I believe this is probably idiomatic, meaning like it won't bark, right? Not even going to show his tongue to you. He's not going to bark. He's not going to growl. He's not going to cause any trouble. But literally, he won't squeeze his tongue. He won't wink his tongue. Okay. Le, me, ish. Literally, to, from a man. So belonging from a man. Ve'ad, and until, behema, the beast. A beast. Le ma'an, so that, te da'un, so that you shall know. The verb, it's another yod pay verb. That means it starts with a yod, and the yod is gone. Okay, yod dalet ayin. Yada is to know. Teideu means you all will know. You'll know. Y'all will know. The ta tells us it's a you, and the u tells us it's plural. And then the noon, well, guess what? That's extra. This is the famous pedagogic noon. It's like an exclamation point in the middle sentence. So that's why I raised my voice. If it didn't have the noon, I would have just said leman teideu, so that you'll know. But instead, it's leman teideun. Okay, there's an exclamation point embedded in the sentence. How you translate that in English is up to you. But that's what the Hebrew's doing. That noon is making it a stronger word, right? Like an emphatic noon. Exactly, Doc. Christopher thinks he missed it, but we're still live. He's writing over in the chat in Hebrew literacy. Asher, so that you shall know, asher, how. This word, asher, if you check out, I think it's Brown Driver Briggs, entry number 3. I think it's entry number 3. I don't know why I remember that. I think, I could be wrong though. One of the meanings of asher, we usually learn it to mean like the relative pronoun, like who or which, but it can mean when, okay? And it can mean that. So I think that's how it's functioning here. You will know that Yafle Adonai bein Mitzrayim. Okay, so the verb here, pala, is to do a wonder, and that sometimes it's spelled with aleph. It changes. Sometimes aleph, sometimes a, to do a wonder. But in context, it means to wondrously distinguish. So Yafle Adonai, the Adonai will wondrously distinguish bein, between Mitzrayim, between Egypt, uveyney, and between Yisrael, between Israel. Great. And now we can go back to our comic. Verse 7 was the last verse from that big block. We can finish up with our comic book. I'm reading to you from the Koran Tanakh. See, there's the Tanakh Koran. Okay, this is the gift edition or presentation edition, if you like it. Nice big Hebrew. It's only Hebrew. There's no English stuff, right? Nice big Hebrew. It's got all the traditional markings and everything, and it even helps you with some of the pronunciation. Very nice. I recommend it to my students. So if you get confused about a short comments and a long comments, then this is your guy. And it's got a nice little leather, hardcover leather thing going on. I wish Jewish Bibles, they would make them like Christian Bibles. I love how the Christian Bibles have the gills, here, and the soft, flexible leather. You just don't find that in Jewish Bibles. I don't know what the deal is, but if you see one, let me know. I'd love to have it. So this is what we finished. This big block of text here, right? Starting here from verse 4 and all that. That's why I switched to the Tanakh. Here's the picture again, if you want to see what's happening. And we're almost finished. Okay, we just have, let's see, that is verse... Oh! I didn't do verse 8. Fine, we'll just do verse 8 here. Sorry. I thought it was only 7 verses. Okay, fine. Ve'yaredu chol avadecha. Yarad is to come down or to descend. So, and they will descend. Who? Chol avadecha. All of your servants. So this is avadim. We drop the M to make it of evids, of the servants of cha, of you. So all of your servants, they will come down. Ele. So all of these servants, so presumably he's gesturing to these guys, right? All these servants, like they're at your beck and request. Ele, these, Eli, unto me. So they will, yarad, they will come down, Eli, to me. Vehayetah, and they will prostrate down, li, to me. And this is further evidence, I've told you guys this before, that in the apostolic writings, when your English Bible translates that people are worshiping Yeshua, this is the word that they're translating. It doesn't really mean to worship. It means to bow down. To bow down. They're bowing down. Just like those guys bowed down before Pharaoh, just like Abraham bowed down to the Bnei Cheth, just like the prophet Nathan bowed down before King David, just like his own wife Bathsheba bowed down before King David. It's not worshiping. It's prostrating down. It can be an act of worship, right? That's the translator's prerogative. It can be just like singing. If I sing a song, hallelujah, hallelujah, I might be singing, it might be worshiping, or I might be singing some Eminem rap, right? Or some gangster rap or something. I'm not worshiping, right? I'm just singing a song. You see? Same thing with mashtachave. It can be an act of worship, or it can just be to prostrate down. So I prefer to be safe and translate. That translates into Jewish Greek, proskuneo, they prostrated down. So the wise men, there's no evidence that they worshiped Yeshua, but instead they prostrated down to him. They did obeisance to him. Okay, just like Moses is saying, these servants of yours, they are going to, he's not saying they're going to worship me. He's saying they will bow down to me. Li, to me. Le'emor, saying, say. Okay, this is from the word yatsa. Yatsa is to go out. This is the command form. We drop the yod. Say, go out. Ata, you. V'chol ha'am, and all of the people, asher hum beraglecha, who are at your feet, meaning like you, they serve you. The idea is they're prostrating down, they're at his feet, right? Ve'acharei, and after chayin such, oh, I'm sorry, that's not the quote anymore. Now Moses is just talking. Ve'acharei, so that was them. Asher beraglecha, change tone. Ve'acharei chayin, and after this, after such, eitzei. Again, it's the same verb as say. It's yatsa, yod, tsadi, aleph. That yod disappeared. And what happens when you have an aleph at the beginning of a verb attached to it? That should remind you of the aleph from ani, or anochi, meaning I. Okay? So, I will say, I will go out. Eight say, I will go out. Okay? Then I will go out, right? Okay? Now, Pharaoh's mad. He just got told off. And let's see what he does. Vayetze me'im paro b'achori af. Okay, it's not Pharaoh. It's Moshe. Vayetze. Yetze means he will go out. Vayetze means and he went out. Me'im, from with. Paro, Pharaoh. B'achori af. Okay. It sounds kind of funny in Hebrew. Yeah, gangsta. Yeah, Brenda said gangsta. May it never be Gandhi's rap. I'm coming to you with passive resistance. You have to listen or you'll get my assistance. I'm sorry. Not to me making fun of Gandhi. Okay. I'm sorry. By the way, to our Indian friends who are listening, look, I love you guys. In this, you have to understand, in the States we make fun of each other's accents. The Southerners make fun of the Northerners. When I was a kid, I got ridiculed so hard for speaking some things with a New York accent, you know, when I lived in the South. So you're just part of the club. It's in love, okay? Okay, Vayetze, and he left, Me'im Paro, from with Pharaoh, Ba, with Chori. Chori means hot. Af is nostril, with a hot nostril. That sounds like some kind of gangsta slang. He's got a hot nostril, man. Nostril is metaphorical for anger. The idea, I used to know somebody like this. A person, when they got really angry, their nostrils were like breathing, like... wonder. It used to freak me out, actually, as a family member. I would get out of Dodge when I saw those nostrils breathing. So, Bachoriaf means with a white hot anger, like with a hot rage. Moshe is mad, right? Because he's basically telling Pharaoh, you're going to cause so much death, you jerk. Just let us go already. Yeah, like a raging bull, Tet says. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Yeah, very, very good, very good. That's nice. Yeah, like a raging bull. Okay. Okay. Wow, so few viewers. What's happening? What happened tonight? Oh, it's sad. It's got to be because it's Purim. Yeah, I know our own people are, those who made it to the party are going to be tired. So, all right, 2 more frames and then we're done. Okay, let's see how we're doing on time. Pretty good. I have a little light anomaly happening here. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm going to just take action with my backup. Boom, okay. I'm still working on getting my lights positioned right. Now Moshe's praying. We're almost done with chapter 11. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe. Then Adonai said unto Moshe, Lo yishma aleichem paro lema'an revod mofetai be'eretz Mitzrayim. Okay, over here, I need over here. There we go. Okay. Lo, not yishma. Shema, you know, right? From Shema, Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, right? Hear, O Israel, right? Shema. This is Yishma. When you see a yod put there in front of the verb, that means he. There's a he doing it, okay? And it's going to be a present tense or a future in general. Most of the time, poetry is different. That's much more advanced with poetry stuff. So, lo yishma, he will not hear. He will not listen. Aleichem, unto y'all. Who? Who's the subject? Who's the he? Paro. But Pharaoh will not listen to you all. Davey says, hey, you have 13 likes. That's good. Hey, thank you for that. Positive. You're right. People came in and maybe they left, but they clicked like. So great. That's good. Thanks for that. And Brenda says, we're here with you, Rav. Can you tell me where to purchase that Tanakh? Sure. You can get that on Amazon. Yeah. Or you can get it from the publisher directly. The publisher is korenpub.com. KORENPUB.com in Israel. And if you do an order of, it's either $70 or $75, it's free shipping to the United States. So it may be cheaper there, but sometimes it's cheaper on Amazon, right? If you like, I can show you a link later in the chat for anyone who wants to get that Tanakh. It's a very nice Tanakh. Yeah, I like it. I love the feeling of it. The pages are nice. And there's not too much bleeding through the onion paper. So, pretty good Hebrew Bible. Okay. Lema'an, for the purpose that, so that. Revot. So this means many or numerous. It's from Rav. Like we say, Toda Rabbah, thanks a lot. Or, you might call someone a rabbi, or a great one, or whatever, By the way, I never insist that anybody call me that. Okay, you can call me Jeremiah if you like. If you like to use titles, we allow it for the sake of our people. But we remember the teachings of Yeshua not to insist that anybody call you rabbi. That is a direct violation of his teaching. Or father. The reason for father is because in the ancient Near Eastern cultures, a wise person, his students were considered his children, and the children also often call him father, right? Or even teacher, right? So if you like, you can. I believe Yeshua's teaching is that we shouldn't let it get to our heads and be angry if someone somehow doesn't call you rabbi, or doesn't call you father, or doesn't call you teacher, right? That's just, come on. We have to remember who we are, and that the greatest of us should serve the least. That's that's a clear teaching from the Messiah, directly from the word of God's mouth, Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay, so Revot, numerous, will be Mofetai. A Mofet is a wonder. Right? Some translate plagues, right? But the idea it's a wonder, it's a miracle he's going to do. Mofetai, whenever you see I, it's plural my, right? If it said mofti, that would mean my wonder, or my plague, right? Moftai is my wonders, or my plagues, you see? Okay. Just like an Adon is a master, we say Adoni, my master. Adonai, plural, my masters, right? So when we call the Lord in Hebrew the Lord is my masters, plural. Be'eretz, in the land of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. Yeah, thanks for the encouragement, guys. And actually, 48 views is okay. Some people, they might have connectivity issues, but they'll be back. They'll be back. And believe it or not, this chapter only has 10 verses. So we will finish all of chapter 11 today. And next week will be chapter 12. Tomorrow is 1 Kings. We're back to 1 Kings again. All right, so here we go. Block out Pharaoh a little bit. I got to get a drink. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe you can take a look at the Hebrew already. Let me. Wow. That was very thirsty. Extra light fell. Well, if you go look at our videos from a few years ago, you can see we're really improving on the effects and stuff. So, trying to do continual improvement. All right. Ooh. Why is it ooh? Because bump schwa. Moshe starts with an mum. So, bump schwa rule. Ooh Moshe. But Moshe. And then here it's back to normal. Ve Aharon and Aaron. See, here it's a ve, here it's a ooh. Okay? Just because of the spelling rules. When it comes before mem, it becomes u. Ve Aharon and Aaron. Asu. The verb is asa. Ayin, sin, hey. When a verb ends in hey, the hey goes away. U. They did. Asu. They did. Et. You don't translate. Kol hamofetim. All of the miracles or all of the plagues. Ha-eli. These. Literally all of the miracles or all of the plagues. These ones, right? So all of these plagues, wonders maybe, is better. Lifnei Pharaoh, before Pharaoh. Vaychazek Adonai et leiv Paro, velo shilach et bnei Yisrael me'artso. Okay, chazak is to strengthen, right? Like, well, to be strong, and when you put the daggesh in the zayin, it's a stronger meaning, to strengthen, right? So chazak is to be strong, and chazek is to make strong, right? So literally, v'chazek, but Adonai chazek, he strengthened at leiv paro, Pharaoh's resolve, literally the heart of Pharaoh, leiv paro, velo shilach, and not he sent out, right? And he did not send out et bnei Israel, the children of Israel, may from arts, land of him. Eretz becomes arts when it's of. Okay, so I could say artsi, it's my land. Artso, it's his land. Artsenu, it's our land. Artsecha, it's your land. This land is your land. Ha'artazeh artsecha, ze artsi. And then I don't know what to do with the rest of that song, that American patriotic song. All right, so me artso, from land of him. The O is him, from his land. And that's it. We finished it. You guys have any comments or questions? How are we on time? Okay, good time. We did about an hour. By the way, the miracles that are going to happen are the slaying of the firstborn, the splitting of the sea, and the hurling of the Egyptians, the drowning of them into the water, right? Davey says they're not calling you Rabbi, but ribeye. Ha ha! I could use a ribeye. That's cute. I like it. I like it. Yeah, we're all just people learning and studying, right? You know, and sharing with each other. I oftentimes learn from you guys. I love it when you guys teach me things too. Ted says, aha. That was a hit. That one's a hit. All right. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end it. You guys have a great Purim. Remember, if you want to, if you want to read it, let me show you. If you want to read, let's see. I can show you. There we go. Okay, so if you want to read, let's see. I think it's there. Okay. Look at our channel. We have different playlists, right? One of the playlists is this one. It's called Megillot. The 5 Megillot will be read and translated here. So last year I made for you, look, Esther chapter 1. And I tried to number them so they're in order, 001, 002. So for example, you might have here, like chapter 4, it's got a couple numbers, 004 and 004b. Okay? I should have changed that to A, but I was doing it fast last year. I just wanted to get it out there. I was feeling inspired. That's going to be fast reading and fast translating. So if that overwhelms you, no need. But if you just want to be immersed and you want to do the mitzvah to read the full book, the whole Megillah, is from the Yiddish saying, if you want to read the whole book of Esther, look, we have it all here. And what I do is I show it on the screen, right? I show it on the screen. Hold on. Why is that like that? Oh, I'm in the wrong window, that's why. So you can see we've got the whole book of Esther is over there, if you want to do that, right? And, the way it works, I just click on one, show you. I think I have a mouse pointer moving as I'm reading. Yeah, my picture's not up there. It's not like this time. Because I didn't have this tech going last year. But, see, there's a mouse pointer. See, so you can follow along. It's pretty clear text on the screen if you make it full screen, Okay? All right, so that's that. That's there for you guys. If you want to do that as part of your Purim celebration, be my guest. And, let's go back over here. And that's it. You guys have a great evening. Well, was there a question? Is there a question? Nope, we're good. Okay. All right. Mentat Assassin says, thank you so much. Love the format. Hey, great. Thank you for that. Vicky says, thank you so much, Rav, classmates. Dr. Vera says, 13 likes. Oh, someone undid their like. All right. We lost 14, went to 13. Boo. Someone didn't like us. But for those of you who like the format, I appreciate it. And make sure you can leave comments after the fact. I'll see them and I'll respond. And by the way, James, where are you? Sorry I didn't respond to all the Pi stuff. I just was a little overwhelmed with stuff I was doing to come and get into those mathematics. But I love your comments, Aki. I hope to hear from you some more. All right. Shalom, shalom. Have a great Purim all. And make sure, don't forget, this week, Dr. Dwayne is back on Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. over there in the United States, Eastern, that's Eastern. And over here in the Philippines and in much of Asia, GMT +7, 7:30 Thursday in the morning, all right? So that's tomorrow. Make sure to check out Dr. Dwayne's Isaiah study. I think you will enjoy